Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Richmond Raceway for the latest round of the House Racing Arca Series, round 7. This is of our 10 race calendar, fourth last race of our season. Live for 200 laps here tonight on the Motormouth Broadcasting YouTube channel. Myself, Ewan O'Leary, and Hamish Munro taking you through all the action from this 3/4 of a mile racetrack with, I'll say, 200 laps on the board. 14 degrees of banking through the turns and pretty steep front and back stretches as well. A short track, you would say, the last of them before our 1.5 mile run to the end. It's Texas, Kansas and Charlotte in the weeks to come. Good evening to you, Hamish. Good to be alongside you. I'd say the last short track of the season, and you'd say second short track of the season as well after Martinsville earlier this season, but this is so different to that and probably different to any other track we're going to go to, certainly in this part of the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Ewan. I mean, great to be here once again. We had an absolute ripper of a race last week out at Talladega. Probably one of the more memorable races I've called at Talladega. We come out to Richmond tonight, which is going to be just as exciting, just as awesome. And I'm really looking forward to this because I think Richmond has so many different little nuances to it and how you can approach racing around here. The battle packs that we can get forming through a couple of different cars as they begin to spread. There is obviously the chance of cautions tonight because it is a shorter circuit. Cars could ever run with each other. They're not as much high speed at Dega. We've kind of gone from one opposite end of the spectrum to the other, Ewan, between the 2 weeks. So it's very exciting though to come out to Richmond. It's a great circuit. It looks fantastic after its recent upgrades as well. And it's going to be a very exciting prospect for us to go racing with only 4 rounds to go now in the season, including tonight.
Yeah, we're getting to the business end, so let's have a look at the point standings currently going into this round of the championship. Wyatt Youngblood is leading the way by 86 points, nice maths, at the moment. Andrew Floyd is in second with Ryan Chronister just behind, only just, and Jason McCook's not far behind either. Elliot Cadra rounds out the top 5. Jason Truckey then is sixth, a bit of a gap back to James Burns, John Edwards, Brian Easter and Matthew Kleckler, who round out the top 10 in the points. That is just under 300 points between first and 10th, but we're using the old Winston Cup Series points system, which is, I think it's 185 for a win or something like that. I might have got that wrong. It's certainly a lot, and so that means you can make up a lot of points in one day. But you'd have to say that even in this point system, 86 points is relatively nice to have. And Wyatt Youngblood very much played the sort of championship leaders game, I thought, last week. Getting involved at the front, certainly, but the important thing from that unpredictable race at Talladega is make sure you don't get caught up in a crash that means you finish in about 20th. And he didn't do that. He did avoid that at least.
Well, he did everything he needed to. And Wyatt obviously took home some solid points last week. The difficulty now tonight here at Richmond will be just trying to maximise that run. We've got 4 rounds left. Richmond can be an opportunity to drop points. One fast repair though, so if you do get into a wreck early, you can come back in the race later on and really get yourself back into it. We saw some very good strategies last week from some drivers where they were in pit lane and actually trying just to cut down on their optional repairs whilst we were under pace car. So they were able to come in, get the car repaired, get out before the pace car lapped them, kept them on the lead lap. They were able to keep their fast repair in hand, or if they'd previously used their fast repair, they were saving themselves at that point in the race as well. It's going to be a little bit of a harder scenario tonight, Ewan, for them to do that, being that the pace car lap is not going to be nearly as long as what it was at Talladega last time out. So there's going to be a lot more pressure on them to try and get in pit lane as soon as possible if they are going to pull off that strategy if they get into a wreck. But it's going to take them a lot more cautions tonight for that to happen. So for the drivers out there, they're going to have a massive test on their hands. They're going to really have to try and finagle their way through this to figure out how are they going to be able to survive Richmond. As we said, it's a tough track. It's a short track, but it doesn't feel like a short track when you come here. You look at it, you look at the infrastructures, you look at how the circuit's been put together. It's one in which it feels like a mile or mile and a half circuit. It doesn't feel like a 0.72 of a mile circuit out here at Richmond. So it's it's going to be an interesting prospect, not only for the championship but for tonight's racing as well. So I'm very excited, and I think. In terms of Wyatt Youngblood, he's shown good pace. He's qualified up in P2, so he could be on for a good result here tonight if he can pull it off.
Now let's have a look then at the starting grid then, ready for round 7. It's Elliot Kandra who's taken the pole with a 21.6 lap time ahead of Wyatt Youngblood. And then Jason McCook and Ryan Chronister on row 2. Carson Kenny and James Loomis then share row 3 with Brian Easter and George Karafidis in 8th place. Jaden McGowan and Maurice Leger are rounding out the top 10. That gets us to just over half a second off pole, with Andrew Floyd and Jason Trockey then next. Floyd second in the points, of course, down in 11th. Mike Stewart and John Edwards then on row 7, ahead of Matthew Kleckler and Wesley Beasley. Jackson Pole is ahead of Frank Marches, who is the first driver over a second off pole, and a lot of non-qualifiers tonight. Matt Morrison, Chris Darkwood, Art Milne, Michael Cole, James Burns, Ricky Langton and John Russo, all not qualifying here, puzzlingly. 7 of the 25 not qualifying. We'll see how many actually get onto the grid here. Not everybody is there yet anyway, so we'll see. But at least 4 or 5 of them, 4 of them are already on the grid waiting to set off under pace car conditions. She mentioned caution laps are going to be a lot shorter tonight, but much of the discussion, I think, is going to be about how many there's going to be, because this is one of the 2 short tracks on the calendar, and we know that short tracks often mean more incidents, especially if there are a lot of cautions throughout the race. I do wonder what we're going to see from these guys tonight. Hopefully some of the runs will be nice and long, and so we can sort of see an actual worked out strategy start to play out.
Well, we know that the fuel in these cars is going to last them roughly 60 laps. Good fuel saving will get them out to around about 65. So we should be in for a 3-stop race if we were to go green the whole way, Ewan. It can be slightly extended out a little bit, but it'll always be 3 stops unless we get maximum fuel save with bulk cautions early in the race. And bulk cautions, obviously, would find them gaining, if we get 5 to 10 cautions in the first 60 laps, which is not necessarily out of the question for Richmond. If we were to go 10 cautions, well, that's 10 laps they can gain, so all of a sudden they can go out to 70 laps, offsets to 130 then for the second stop, and then out to 190 for the end. So they would still need a little 10-lap buffer in the final stop, but no, they can definitely make it on 3, but I have a feeling that some drivers may need to come into pit lane maybe a little bit earlier than lap 60, which may offset them just a touch.
And of course, there may well be tyre concerns before that anyway. In my experience, tyres have always been quite wearing around here, although I've never watched the Arca Series here, so I'm not entirely sure. But generally, next-gen race here, relatively recently, I had an next-gen race, and the drop-off was not sort of steep off a cliff, but it was quite gradually bad. And that meant that tyres would be a factor. There are 4 sets of tyres sat in the pit lane waiting for them to perhaps use at some stage tonight. So that's what we may see. Let's see what happens tonight then at Richmond in the House Racing Arca Series as we get underway for 200 laps of racing. Elliot Kandra in control of the field and brings us to the green.
Oh, there's a caution immediately, Ewan. There is a caution immediately. Multiple cars around. We barely made it through turn 1. And there is at least 7 cars there that have been spun round off the race start. And the caution truck, well, he hasn't even pulled up in the pit lane. He's just driven straight through. So it's a very, very early caution for this race. And I believe it all starts with Jason Trockey, who's had a moment here off the start line.
Let's see, it certainly looked to start on the high side, and the cars on the very steep turns just rolled back. Oh, that's fast on the exit there. Oh, it's a bit further up, in fact.
Yeah.
A 12 car was involved in that. That is Ryan Chronister, who qualified quite well, actually, and is currently 3rd placed in points, is involved in this. I mean, I wonder if he was hit from behind by that Walmart livery, maybe.
Oh, so Kirafidi slowed up. So Kirafidi slows up, then the 93 wasn't prepared for the slow up and just drilled the back of him. And I think honestly there, Ewan, the onus is obviously on the 93, Maurice Leger, for just not having preparedness for lap 1. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of slowing. There's always going to be some sort of lift on lap 1. Everyone's so close together coming into turn 1. And it's like he's coming to turn 1 thinking it's like practice and he can run the same braking line. You can't on lap 1 of this race. You've got cold tyres, everyone is tightly packed together again like sardines in a can. And that's multiple fast repairs already used for multiple drivers now. So they'll have to push on without them. And this is going to be a very tough 200 laps, because without those fast repairs, if they get in a wreck, their night is done. And it's very easy for your night to be ruined here at Richmond, as we've just seen already on the start of this race.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder whether that is going to, set the tone for tonight, or whether we can just chalk that down to, one
Hopefully
driver there
not.
wasn't quite. What? Yeah, well, yeah, but one driver maybe wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on in front, and therefore, my point being, therefore, the rest of the field will realise, okay, this is how we should be doing, the entry to turn one. On any of these restarts, just take it a little bit more carefully, because now that some of the guys in front of you will be.
I hope it is. I really hope it is a wake-up call for them. That very easily happened, especially those cars that were around that, who saw it happening as well. They should have some level of awareness now that, okay, we just need to hold off for the first lap or so, get ourselves settled. Once we're probably within the first maybe 2 or 3 green laps, that's when we can start pushing. That's when we can start putting pressure on each other. Because whilst everyone is backed up like that and drivers are braking, you're not prepared for them to brake, because of course these cars have got no brake lights on them, so you can't see when they're braking. It's best just to brake a little earlier, take it a little easier. Everyone needs to do that now, because you can't tell when the driver ahead of you is going to be doing it. It's a very quick turnaround there for the caution. We're about to head up to green and head back up towards the restart zone.
So Elliot Kandra with take 2. Let's see how long we get this time as Kandra brings them into the foot. And look at how much more spaced out they are indeed in towards turn 1. Kandra straight up the racetrack though, and White Youngwood goes for the lead here on this restart.
Yeah, just took it in a little bit too hot. It was a later apex for, it was an earlier apex for him in turn 1, as they managed to push him up high off the road, and that's when he's run through the corner, but he's managed to build it up back again through turn 3 and 4. So for Youngblood and Kandra, this is going to be an enticing battle for the race leaders. Youngblood up the inside at 1 and 2. Tucks it through, switch over though for the 09 of Kandra, and now gets the run down the back straight as well. So they're swapping and changing early here, Ewan. This could be an enticing little green flag period if these guys continue to go like this the whole way through.
Yeah, if they're fighting like this, it's going to be enthralling. Hit the inside for Youngblood this time. They're just doing a switchback after switchback, and it looks more like a road course race right now. Late apex taken by Elliot Kandra to get him to the inside for the next turn again. But Youngblood seems to be a bit more comfortable. I mean, neither of them look especially comfortable, but Youngblood looks more comfortable up on the high line than Kandra does.
Well, he just ran wide at turn 4 and hit the outside wall there across the tri-oval. So he's managed to get himself going again. Jackson pole in the 88. There's a lot of fans in the chat for Jackson, so shout out to you guys watching along. Just struggling here in the traffic, and he's getting buried at the moment from all the cars trying to come around him. Had a fairly good run last time out at Talladega, one that I'm sure he's very proud of, so he'll be hoping to try and match that here tonight. He's having blinking issues in the field, and in fact, he's just blinked away again, so hopefully that doesn't plague him too much during this race.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be some guys taking it easy down the back of the field, and say after that opening part of the race, you can absolutely see why. This meantime is the battle for third place between Jason McCook and Carson Kenny, who's moved up 1 place compared to where the 000 was situated after qualifying. Just behind them, Jaden McGarren, who's made up 4 places so far in this race.
We can see already that it's high pressure tonight, and again, as we said, it is a polar opposite to what Talladega was. Talladega was foot to the floor, full pace, full bore. These cars will be lucky to get to full pace tonight across Richmond, so it's going to be a tactical game. Tyre game is going to be massive tonight. I think we can agree that controlling your tyre wear is going to be imperative. Knowing that they've got 4 changes available to them across the 5 tyre sets means that, well, if you need 3 pit stops to make it home, but you've got an extra set towards the end, you can manage to make them last 60 laps. Somehow at Richmond, 1, you're probably going to get yourself an overall prize for absolutely scientific wonders. But 2, you're also then going to give yourself a spare set at the end of the race in case we go green, white, checker to the end.
Yeah, I would really consider keeping a set back at this circuit in particular, for those kind of reasons. Not necessarily for a green white checker, because I would be wary about how you can make your way through the field, although it's not impossible here by any means. It's quite wide, short track. but especially for a sort of, caution with 15 to go, something like that, you definitely want some set of tyres on there for that. So as you say, I would be using my first 4 set of tyres as if this race is going to go green the whole way, i.e. 50 laps each, but that leaves you 1 set just to use for a rainy day, as it were, for a late restart that you may need. Traffic seems to be on the horizon already here. We've already had obviously long stoppers here, and all 22 drivers who started tonight are still in the race, but of those 22, not everybody's on the lead lap. John Edwards is just in front of those guys who are going side by side for the lead now. Youngblood again down the inside of Elliot Kandra. These two are continuing to fight so fiercely at the moment.
It's fantastic to see, isn't it? Seeing this sort of battle, and this is classic short track action for you. It is a trading of positions over and over again. It is like schoolyard kids trading Pokemon cards at lunchtime. I mean, they're going back and forth every single lap, and it seems like this is going to continue. And then the question has to beg, well, which one of them is going to burn out their tyres first, or are they both going to burn out their tyres? Because they've both got the pace to hold this up, but tyre wear will be the factor on if they can maintain the pace and maintain the battle regimen with each other. Youngblood at the moment seems to be holding back. I think he knows because there's traffic, there's no point trying to battle this early on in the race with Kandra, and he'll be saving a little bit of tyre wear at the moment too. So Youngblood may have the advantage come towards the end of this stint because he'll have a bit of a better grip under him in that respect.
See what they do in this traffic here for the first time. And say John Edwards is one of these. He's in car 54, just in front of these two. Not sure whether he's first or second of the pairing, but there's definitely drivers who are running multiple laps down. In fact, Michael Cole is the other one who is about to go a second lap down here. George Kofinis already 2 laps down, and that's the unfortunate thing, really. I think he might be trying to do the thing where you take a few seconds of your repair off each time you come down pit lane, Tom, but I'm just not sure that really works here. I think, especially if you've got a lot of damage, if it's more than a minute, say, I think that is not worth it, to be honest. You might as well take your fast repair, because if Kurt Friedrich is trying to do this, fair enough, he saved his fast repair, but he's cost himself already a couple of laps here.
Yeah, this is hurting him now. I suppose the blaring, obvious sort of fact that we can pull into this is, well, we could still get many, many cautions across the next 180 laps. We've already had one, but fair play to the drivers, massive fair play to the drivers. Hat has to go off to them. They sorted themselves out after that first incident. Both you and I know we've called many races together and also separately where drivers don't learn from the incident you have on lap 1. They then consistently get into incidents over and over again until eventually someone has to step in, make it single file restarts, and that normally sorts them out. So a massive fair play to the drivers as we've just had our second caution of the race. What a time for this to happen as I'm talking about it. They learnt though. They learnt and they changed their strategy into the second restart of the race, and they got themselves sorted. So fair play to the drivers tonight for doing that. This is the incident that brought out the caution. It's with James Loomis and I think Ryan Chronister as well. And it looks to be down at turn, I think that's turn 1-2 it is. So, that's a very untidy moment. We already saw the 12 get involved in the lap 1 incident as well. So that's big damage on the 36 car of James Loomis, and Chronister may have put a little bit of damage on board his vehicles. Jackson Pole's in pit lane, so's Beasley. So free pit stop regimen here. If they pit now, they go green for another 60 laps. That'll take them out to lap 80. This is the earliest possible point they can pit and make it home on 3 pit stops, assuming that they don't get a green-white checker at the end.
Yeah, and assuming that they're not tripped up by any other cautions along the way.
Yep.
Because they could be in a situation where they have to pit first. Admittedly, they'll be on the right side of it initially, but they pit first and then they get hung out to dry a couple of laps down. But I somewhat doubt we're going to do 175 laps under green, although it would be entertaining to see a long green flag run with some strategy and so on play out. See if there's any long stops here. Jackson Pole, I think, has done this a little bit out of damage, unless he's just made a mistake there with a long pit stop. 27 seconds in the box for him, and he's got to get a move on.
He would have taken 4 tyres with that amount of time, or possibly getting a bit of damage because, as you said, Ewan, I think, well, there's obviously no point conserving the sets of only taking half tyres tonight, I think. Because of the fact that they have 4 changes available to them, 5 sets across the race, you may as well take 4 on every single stop, because what are you going to do with the left-hand side tyres that are left there waiting for you at the end of the race? There's no point. Yes, you'll save a bit of time by only taking right sides, but it'd be much better to have the grip on all 4 than only have 2 of them, especially here at Richmond.
I wonder how it works I know in iRacing it works that way, that you have to use left sides and right sides as they arrive, as it were. But I wonder how it works in real life, whether you're actually allowed to use more on the rights than lefts.
From what I know, in my very limited knowledge of racing, this is from talking with people who I know who do work in the racing industry. Normally, but the reason they're dictated for sides of the car, it would be the case for NASCAR for sure, is because of the different pressures that are pre-put into the tyres by the tyre providers. So the tyre manufacturers have pre-put pressure in them, and then obviously the teams can set them up how they like, but because of the offset, I believe that's why they're specified for either side of it, for one side of the car only and not the other.
Okay. I didn't realise, because rubber is rubber.
I know, but it's,
it doesn't work quite like that.
No, not exactly.
No. Back to green meantime. Elliot Cadra brings us back over the start finish line, and Youngblood right in behind, just getting into the groove again. 27 laps complete at the end of this one here tonight, and so far it's been good stuff from those 2 out front. They have been the class of the field, you'd say. Cadra and Youngblood as well out front. Here he looks again. White Youngblood, no, can't work his way down the inside once again here, but it's been all about these 2 though so far through these first 27 laps.
Well, we've had a special guest just walk in here randomly into our booth. I don't know how he's come to Richmond. I know he's got a truck race coming up later this afternoon on the channel, Jim Cunningham's in here, who is currently muted, so I assume he's waiting to say something to us. I don't know what it is. I don't know what we've done, you, and I don't think we've broken any rules. Very good boys on the broadcast thus far. But Jim's good. Jim, how are you going? You excited for your race you got coming up later today?
I do. We're going to do 100 laps at Las Vegas a little bit later, getting ready for that. And I was watching you guys' great coverage on this ARCA race, enjoying that little green flag run we had right there. A lot of action, changing spots. So yeah, I just thought I would drop in and say hello. And as I was coming in, you were talking about tires, and you were pretty much very accurate about why they can't put left sides on the right side in oval track racing. The tires are also slightly different size. They're offset slightly to help the cars rotate better and go in a more of a circle. So the right side tires are going to be bigger than the left side tires. So that would be one.
Oh, we've just had a big wreck here with Wesley Beasley. Oh, that car does not look pretty. There you are. Thank you for confirming that for us, Jim. Jim, did you learn that when your son went to visit Penske in Charlotte?
No, actually, I've been around a long time watching NASCAR racing. So before both of you were born. Probably combined, in fact. That is a big wreck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it Wesley Beasley? Looks
Yeah,
like
it is.
22 to me.
Yeah, no, he has a custom number on the car.
Okay,
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah, it does.
But,
Yeah, let's make it more confusing. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I got to get ready for my Las Vegas race. As I was passing through Richmond on the way to Vegas, I thought I would drop in and say hello real quick.
How
You've got
fast?
lost, clearly.
I was gonna say, are you flying in a fighter jet, Jim? I mean,
Oh yeah, fighter jet. Yeah, yeah. No, I travel first class. It's fighter jet. I'll be there in about 30 minutes. So yeah.
Oh,
I just figured I'd stop in real quick, land on that runway outside Richmond, say hello during a pit stop and caution flag, and then get back on and head on to Vegas.
You're a very fast runner, Jim. I can see why you've got such skinny legs. So thank you for joining us for a quick chat.
All right, y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.
Thank you. You
Thanks,
too.
Jim. A couple of pit stops there, by the way. Well, Jim had just popped in under this caution, but still the leaders are not coming in, which I'm getting more surprised by with every caution that passes, I must admit.
I think they are trying to offset this along so they get a shorter stop to the end of the race. I think that's they don't want to waste their short stop now. I know they're getting put under pressure now. They may need to pit under green, but the way we are going, they may have a little window that they will decide to come in under caution. So I would say it's probably going to be maybe a 15-lap window that by the time we get out to maybe lap 45, that's when they'll start thinking about if we get a caution, we're going to come in.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's entirely possible, and just slightly concerned on their behalf that if it's not inconceivable we go the next 40 laps under green, for example, and they suddenly get caught needing a green flag stop. So that's why I'm getting more surprised each time, and you can start to see why. We've already seen the likes of Jackson Paul obviously came in, I think, to repair a bit of damage, but Jaden McGowan has already been in. Mike Stewart came in there. James Lewis had a bit of damage there to repair. Wesley Beasley obviously did as well as Ryan Chronister. Those are all on the lead lap. Of course, this is all helping those who are off the lead lap right now, because we were able to get 19 cars on the lead lap. Still 3 who are 1 or 2 laps down at this stage.
That's the beauty of the auto caution system and the lucky dog as well, and it means that every caution we get, we'll get another car back on the lead lap, hoping that we don't lose more than 1, because otherwise we would be gaining 1 and losing 2, so we would really be offsetting it very much. But restart zone's about to put up again. It's been turning it on for us here at Richmond.
There we go, 35 laps complete here at Richmond, and Kandra has had to do every start and restart from the front. There's another one, successfully executed, keeping White Youngblood behind, and with every restart that goes on, Kandra seems to be more comfortable in this lead. Youngblood definitely hit the wall there after turn 2.
Yeah, Youngblood, Kenny, and I think McCook even as well all ran it a little bit wide off the exit of 2 and just scraped the wall on the back straight. But Kandra is looking in control. The car looks neat and tidy for the Napa Auto Parts entry as he turns it into turn 1 and 2. So again, he's running that later apex, turns in that little bit later as Youngblood in the wall again. So he's pushing hard to stay with him here. Ewan, I don't know if Wyatt is looking as comfortable as what Elliott is just ahead of him. I think he is pushing this car incredibly hard, and White Youngblood needs to be very careful. Not only that he doesn't damage his car too much, but he doesn't chew up these tyres, because he's got to let them last another 22 laps of this race.
Yeah, most likely, maybe further with the cautions we've seen so far, but we are approaching lap 40, and this field is a lot closer than it has been in previous restarts. Jason McCook next to their cousin Kenny, then Matt Morrison, who is side by side here between the two of them. That's the 00 and 6 car. Matt Morrison looking for his 15th place game tonight already, by the way. Started 19th, didn't qualify, and is clearly showing that he's got the race pace.
Feels like a master of the short track, maybe. Here's Matt Morrison at this stage of the race. He's doing incredibly well in the 6th entry. Beautiful looking car as well. The Alliance trucks the rear, the number 6 car, so it's a beautiful looking machine with the 00 alongside him with Carson Kenny, as you mentioned there, Ewan. But they're starting to build little battle packs now. There's a little 1.3 second gap separating Jaden McGowan and Andrew Floyd at the back end of this train. So Floyd is just backing up this first train of cars, then McGowan's leading the next train of cars. But James Burns as well is starting to gap out from him too. So getting small battle packs, but boy is the racing exciting at this stage of the race.
Yeah, just creating a bit of a gap in front of these two, though, the side-by-side to the front 3. In fact, Jason McCook able to stay with the 2 leaders better than he has on, and better than anybody else on this previous 2 starts. But Kandra not quite so much under pressure from White Youngblood this time around. Still side-by-side between the 00 and the 6 car coming off of turn 2 here. Waiting in behind them, by the way, is Brenista in the 5. Just waiting in the wings and sort of seeing who's going to prevail here. Costing each other quite a lot of time now. It's actually creating battles behind as well between Marchesi and Kleckler as well.
Well, we're getting fantastic battles here amongst these cars inside of the top 10, and the Toyota Camry of East has had to slow up, which is now allowed Frank Marchese alongside and past in the Mobile 1 entry for the 55. So it's Toyota versus Toyota here in the battle for P6. It's then Chevrolet and Ford battling for P4. Chevrolet and Ford battling for the race lead as well. So all 3 manufacturers being represented here tonight, but there's only 2 of those Toyotas left on the lead lap, with Maurice Leger back down 1 lap on the race leaders. Now the 46 of Trockley starting to put pressure on Easter as well. Kandra's leading. He's starting to build gap here, Ewan, and I think saving those tyres has paid dividends for him. because Wyatt Youngblood has been hurting himself trying to keep up with the 09 car, and he's burning up them tyres.
Yeah, I think so. And that is why Jason McCook maybe is finding it easier to stay with Youngblood than before, because maybe he is either taking better care of his tyres, or sort of going through the tyres early for Youngblood has sort of brought him down to a pace that McCook is able to stay with right now, as we've got still damaged cars limping around at the moment. Wesley Beasley is not repaired at all in the 22, and again, why he didn't use his fast repair, if that indeed is the case. Maybe he got more damage since then, but why he didn't use his fast repair after such a big hit is a bit of a mystery to me.
Well, the double zero trying to avoid him, and now the 6 has gotten into the back of him as well. And Kearney is now
Hard
into
contact.
the wall, and that there looked like. So
Whoa.
oh my god! Oh my god! Well, fair play to Kearney. He held his brakes. He waited there to let the whole field pass, but that there almost can be. If we watch this back here, we can see it. So the 22's hanging high just to let them pass. Fair play to him, he's staying out of their way. But the 6 is then trying to dial up the inside. So the 0 comes down, the 6 comes up right on the inside and just taps the rear of the 00 car. Probably not the best traffic management skills there for the 6 in that sense, because he's trying to go for an overtake where they're trying to get past lap traffic. Maybe more beneficial just to sit back and wait, as now the race leaders are in. So we mentioned that there'd probably be a 15-lap buffer for them to decide to come into pit lane. Well, I've been made to look like one of them fact talkers, Ewan, because they're in the pit lane now with under 15 laps to go until the end of the first pit cycle of 60 laps.
You've never sounded, not as down with the kids when you said one of those fact talkers.
I know, that was a deliberate call for me. It's me finally accepting that I am getting closer and closer to 30 as I get older. And I'm gonna have to start pulling out that young people lingo, of course, every single time. Really pull out the Steve Buscemi pick of "What up, fellow kids," whenever I'm heading out to their skate rinks or their rollerblading tracks and stuff like that. So.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Kendra beats Youngblood out of pit lane just about. John Edwards, Mike Stewart, and that's it actually. Jed McGowan initially stayed out. He's in again now though. So 2 staying out. Slightly puzzling for John Edwards, I must say. He must be close to running out. Is this caution number 4? I think so far.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's gained 4 laps. If he's been fuel saving, he may be getting 69 nice laps out of his tank, but I think more than likely it's 64 laps. Being that he pitted on lap 1, so you'll get out to lap 65. Stewart, love this strategy. He already pitted on lap 32. He didn't need to come in now. He can get to the stage where he can get this car out to past lap 80, which then will get him home on 1 more stop after that. So he's still in a sitting pretty position. He doesn't need to pit right now. And he is in the genuine corrected lead of this race when John Edwards eventually has to come back in a pit lane. So I like it. It's a good strategy, and it's going to keep him out of trouble further back. But I think he may struggle with the pace comparatively to Kendra and Youngblood, because those guys have been super, super quick thus far. Best lap for Stewart was a 22.21. For Kendra and for Youngblood, it was a 21.6. So they are outlapping him at the moment by 0.6 of a second in terms of max pace.
Yeah, and this is the first time, let's not forget, that Elicandra's not going to start from the front of the field. And so that could change things a little bit for him as well. Entering a new phase in the race, really, now that most drivers have stopped. Feels like it's sort of less the early stages now, as pretty deep into the restart zone there for car 54. John Edwards gets us underway. Oh, and Youngblood completely stuck in behind Mike Stewart there on the outside.
Oh!
Here goes into the wall. Stewart's trying to stay out of everybody's way. It's 4 wide briefly there through 1 and 2. And there's going to be trouble.
My God.
There was always going to be trouble. Mike Stewart there, in his attempts to stay out of everybody's way, I think has unfortunately got more in the way than he was intending.
What was the point of staying out of their way? What was the point?
Oh,
he had
dear.
the strategy that would have gotten him to the end. That car is completely cooked. Completely cooked. So let's watch this back. So Michael Cole has ended up in this.
He gets into it last.
Yeah, he gets into it last. So all this stuff's happening with Mike Stewart, and then just an unfortunate moment. He kind of just finished it. He was the nail in the coffin there for Mr. Stewart. So let's try and find our green flag restart. So we can kind of watch this back again and see exactly how this has happened. So as they've come round, what's he done? What's he done to just lose this much pace? I don't understand the thought process of staying out of their way.
Well, no, I don't understand that thought process, but I think the only thing to understand here is he's trying not to be in the way of everybody. But as I say, in so doing that, you actually get in the way more than you think.
So what I think's
he's running
happened,
a bit too wide, a bit too high.
What I think's happened, Ewan, on that entry to turn 1, he's felt and seen Youngblood go low, and he's thought that Youngblood's alongside him, and I think he's just given him way too much space. That's then caused him to run up high into the wall. And then he's scrambling, trying to figure out what he needs to do. And unfortunately, it's all just kind of overtaken him.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, you're so often better just running what you would normally do than you think. I mean, you know,
I don't understand it. I don't understand the thought process of, well, let's hold back in P2. You're only going to slow up the whole field. Mike just should have pushed on. He was in a great position strategically. Yeah. He could have gone on to, lap 80, or let's say for safety, go to lap 85, just in case we get a green white check at the end. Go to lap 85, you pit, you take your fuel. One more stop, you are home. I don't see the thought process. Why would you slow up on lap 1 even though you run up high into the wall? I don't know. I think it was all created because Mike saw Youngblood was going to his inside, and he didn't only leave the door open for him, Ewan. He cut out and removed the doorway and just left a giant hole for Youngblood to go through. And he didn't need to leave that much space. He was trying to be nice. I understand that, Mike. Very good that you wanted to be nice, but short track racing, you cannot leave a gap like that because you're right up high into the wall, and then you're just going to get swamped and swallowed, and that's exactly what happened.
And by the way, that is... We're talking about him like he was a lapsed driver.
He wasn't.
He was second.
He wasn't. He was second. That's what. That's what boggles my mind. He was P2. He could have just raced them proper. And I think what happened was he was just too cautious. I think was the case there, Ewan.
Yeah.
And we're all for being cautious, but he was a little bit too overcautious, and that's where it can go wrong.
Yeah, I think so. But, this time round, Elliot Candro will start from second. It's another restart for John Edwards. He still didn't decide to pit that time round, as Wyatt Youngblood wants to lead here. He spent a lot of time in second, restarting there on the outside, the front row. Now using 30 restarts from the inside for the first time tonight, and he finally takes the lead. I think, to be honest, Elliot Candro will be happy to let him have that one.
Yeah, I think Candro has the 5 cars gone round of Brio and Easter. So Browan has gone into the grass. No caution thrown because the car is not stopped on the track surface. And be lucky that he didn't melt away like forgotten Easter eggs in the cupboard. And just keep on moving. But he has dropped down the order a little bit there. So Youngblood and Candra now, top 2 in the race. John Edwards is getting absolutely eaten alive because he stayed out for so long. He had the opportunity. He almost had a go of it again there, Ewan, to come into pit lane. They said, no, come on, come in. You've got a caution, do it for free. No, he's decided to stay out. And even now, if he gets a caution, he's going to get swallowed up. So he's got to commit to his pit stop very shortly. He's going to gain maybe 5 laps on this stint. He'll go out to roughly lap 66. But he is going to get eaten alive here by these front runners, as there's 2 fastest laps of the race in a row. Youngblood 21.76, and then Candra completely swamped it at 21.53 on the last time round.
Yeah, and straight through into the lead as well. So I thought Candra would be happy to sit there and be second, but actually no. Youngblood will not go lying down though, for sure. He will come back down the inside again in towards 1 and 2 and take the race lead back again. This is an identical battle at the moment. Youngblood is tired of getting undercut though, and he did just keep a little bit of a lower line off of the corner there, as is his right, of course, when you're the leader. Just giving him a little bit of a block there in the 09 and just showing him that he's absolutely in a race here. Yeah.
Well, he's in a race at this stage, Ewan, and he's doing very, very well to race the front of this field. Matt Morrison is still up there as well, which is great to see. So he's battling away. Chase and McCook Frank Marchese to in the top 5. Andrew Floyd is then a little bit of gap back to the top 5. He's getting swamped at the moment from the cars in behind, including John Edwards, who has still not come into pit lane. And he's going to have to start making moves here, Ewan, to get on the inside line. Otherwise, he's going to get blocked from coming into pits, and he's going to run out of fuel if he doesn't do so. So he needs to try and as swiftly as ever, now that he's got a chance, try and get to the inside. He can't do it now with the 12 on his inside, and the tyres are not allowing him to do it. He may just be better off lifting, letting these cars pass, and getting into the pit entry as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's taken him quite a while here to get low, but I think he could, if he's been thinking about this for a long time, he could have fuel saved to it, I think, about 70. But, you know, he may well have not been. And there he goes. That's a bit more aggressive, and that shows, I think, that he hasn't been doing that, and he does need to get pit lane. But he keeps missing the low line. He keeps missing the line.
His
so
tyres are completely
careful.
cooked. His tyres are completely cooked at this stage. Everyone else is on much fresher tyres, so they've got the grip advantage over him. He cannot hold this thing together. So this is what we can expect if we get a long green run of our front runners, is the tyres are going to be completely fried. So Pole is all over him now trying to get past, but he needs to be careful because the 54 is going to have to come into pit lane shortly, so he doesn't want to get caught up with him when he does decide to shoot across to the inside of the road and get it into pit road.
Oh, chance for the lead again. Canberra getting past Youngblood again in towards 3 and 4 this time. Youngblood's still on the inside though, but the outside run through 4, close between the two. Canberra in front though. We hit 1/3 distance at Richmond tonight, and Elliot Canberra leads again.
Wow. That was super, super close to you. I pulled the biggest stink face I think I ever have, because I thought Canberra was going to scrape the wall then. That was so close for Canberra to the wall. Youngblood's just clipped it as well. Morrison is in behind. McCook, we just had a call out there to watch Frank Marchese. He taught Forge in the chat everything they know. Well, that doesn't really say very much. We don't know how much you know, so we can't really go. You may know nothing, which means that Frank taught you nothing. So we're not quite sure how that works out. We could maybe trust that you can do it as there's been a caution. So what's happened? I think it's Carson Kenny again who's gone round. It is Carson Kenny, and there's a car in behind him that's been involved. So if you are John Edwards, you're in pit lane right now. You've got to get in pit lane.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was going to run out of fuel if he doesn't, so he will be forced into doing it this time round. But there you go. 07 car's quite slow on the road line.
And then the 7 in the middle with the 00. All the numbers go together. It's like a maths equation. Oh, but that does not equal a positive number. Oh my God.
Who was that?
Was that James?
Looks a bit like the 25 car, but I don't know.
That was Mike Stewart. That was Mike Stewart. Oh my God. Okay, so we need to watch this now from Carson Kenny's perspective. So he's been kind of forced up high by the 7. They come through, and then the 07 just comes up on him and clips his side. So he tries to get it going, lights it up, and bang, straight into the 91. And that's race done for the 91. He's already used his fast repair. That car is completely destroyed. Mike Stewart is out of this race here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, certainly out of contention at this stage. Yeah, I mean, when you are the car spinning there, to be fair, I think Stewart has a little bit of a right to be aggrieved, because you are supposed to lock the brakes really when you're spinning and sliding around like that. But sadly, on that occasion, Stewart did not do that. And yeah, he's into pit lane now, is Stewart, and indeed some of the others with damage. After all that, we should still see 17 on the lead lap. John Edwards does finally stop, but he stops for 35 seconds, which maybe part of the story we were seeing there was due to damage in that case as well.
So we've had a confirmation. Forge in the chat is Zach Baker, of course, took second last week out at Talladega. So he said, so Frank, he taught Zach at least a few things. I would argue though as well, just to hang something on Zach again. Anyone can win Talladega because it's always chaos, so anyone could always get second.
Oh, you're going for him, aren't you? He can't get a break. He's not even here.
No. Zach drove very, very well last week, of course, at Talladega. So yeah, Frank must have taught him something. But did Frank teach you everything he knows, Zach, or just everything you know? So that made that, you know, if Frank taught him everything that if Frank taught him everything that he knows, then Frank's as good as Zach. If he didn't teach him everything he knows and only taught Zach everything that Zach knows, then Frank is better than Zach. So,
well, in theory,
you know,
I don't remember Frank being here last week. So
he wasn't here last week. So maybe it's the same driver.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them on the same track together again because, of course, as how it always works in Motormouth Broadcasting, as we get up to the restart zone, if we haven't broadcasted your race, it never happened. So for us, the championship started last week out of kayfabe, but of course it's been running for quite a while. So the restart zone's it up again. Lap 73 of 200. We've got 128 laps to go here at Richmond. It has been an intense first 73 laps of this one.
Yeah, it certainly has. Not caution heavy particularly, but there have been a fair few of them. It's been a great battle for the race lead between Kandra and Wyatt Youngblood. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be any sign of who is actually going to win out of the pair of them. Although, we might have the early signs that it will be one of these two. We're seeing that they are very, very quick as we've got damaged cars coming out of the lane and slowing on the back straight. Mike Stewart, as you say, is probably out of tonight. He has still got repairs going on that car at the moment, and that would be our first retirement of the day. Jason Trockey, unfortunately, is out of the race through disconnection at the moment. Hopefully he returns, but that's never ideal either.
No, it's not ideal for Jason, and then for Mike, yeah, I mean, he's got a meatball flag, probably completely destroyed car. I don't think we're going to see him back on this. If we see that car repaired and back on this race circuit tonight, Ewan, that is going to be an all-time repair job, but he's going to be many laps down if that happens. So I'd say he would have packed it up, and that'll be night done for him. Cantor and Youngblood, though, are really the force of the field. Matt Morrison's been a force tonight as well, though. He is up 16, and he is matching these guys for pace right now. So he's wanted to have some fun tonight. Didn't qualify. Maybe he made some mistakes in qualifying. Who knows? But he's making the most of this race. He's up 16 spots, and he's putting pressure on Wyatt Youngblood in P1 at the moment. Or P2 at the moment, I should say. Cantor in P1.
Yeah, Youngblood a couple of laps ago had a massive moment off of 4. Just slid and almost used the wall to put the rear end of his car back the right way again there. Stepping on that gas a little bit early, you would say, out of 4, but gets away with it and continues on in the second position. A look down the inside here from Matt Morrison meantime. And he's starting to make an impression on this race as well. Hard to make an early impression when you're Morrison and you didn't qualify for Richmond tonight, but he certainly has since then, up 16 places to third.
He's doing a very, very good job, is Matt Morrison. We're just about on to lap 80 of this race, so we're getting into real nitty and gritty strategic points now. So if for the sake of saving us with an end of the green-white check at the end of the race, you want to make sure you got fuel to the end. Lap 80 now, well, this is real critical lap to get to the end of the race. You'd pit at the end of this lap now, you get out to lap 140, and then you'd be able to get home to the very end. If you want to extend that out a little bit to save yourself for the green white check, you're probably putting around about lap 85, just to give yourself a little bit of breathing space. Longer than that at the moment based on when they last pitted. It was last pitted on lap 48, lap 49. We've had a couple of cautions since then. So these drivers will go out to maybe lap 110, maybe 111, Ewan. So it's been quite offset again. But the more cautions we have, the better this is going to work out for.
So at 82, and Youngblood is not able to regain the time lost earlier in this run to Elliot Kandra. In fact, it's pressure from Matt Morrison that he's receiving at the moment. Jason McCook and Frank Marchese are not too far away either here, as another look from the 6th. At the moment, looking difficult for Morrison to actually get past, but he looks quicker than Youngblood, and in fact, quite a few in this group do as well.
Well, there's quite a few drivers who have got some good pace under them at this stage. The Arca is one of the toughest cars to drive in the oval landscape, especially in modern oval landscape as well, based on the fact that you're stuck behind a car right in front of you, you cannot see a thing because of the rear wing on these cars. So this is a very tough learning curve for some drivers who may be new to it, but those who are next-gen big fans, they should be doing quite well.
There he goes, Morrison filing down the inside. Youngblood, who again tries to go for the up and under, which has been so successful for him so far, although he's been the victim of it on a few occasions as well from Kandra. Next in line is Jason McCook, and Frank Marchese also here as well. So England for the first time tonight maybe starting to see things go the wrong way, but for the most part his closest championship rivals are behind him, and that is the main thing here. Andrew Floyd, Ryan Chronister both having trouble here tonight, and those are the only two within 100 points of him at the start of Richmond.
Well, what we're also seeing as well tonight now is the lap traffic with Carson Kenny is just getting passed here by the front runners. We're seeing Jason McCook and Frank Marchese just slowing up onto the back of White Youngblood as well, so he may be trying to save some tyres, possibly some fuel as well, just to give himself a little bit of an advantage across the next few laps of this race. We're into critical pit stop time now, Ewan, so pit stops from here will definitely get them home from one more stop to the end of this race. But, depending on how long they want to go will be based upon, well, how much do they want to push the tyres into the race. They would have already used one tyre change for these front four. Some other drivers may have used two already as well, but strategy is going to be key now. But these guys have still got 3 tyre changes in their back pocket, as Kira Fedes has got massive damage on the front of that Walmart entry.
Still, well, now 3 laps down. Just trying to get repairs done in each caution here, and just trying to get to the end in a decent position and stay around the lead lap. Not as far down as James Burns actually. He's 5 down at this stage. Mike Stewart and Jason Trocchi both seem to be out of this race at this stage in the day, so pretty early retirements from them. This is a bit more damage a bit further down the field as well. This is car 93, and Maurice Leger called in the first caution of the day at the front of this group, containing John Edwards and Jackson Paul. Edwards, of course, the one who led some laps, running long as possible in that first run.
And well, he stayed out there long. He is back in the order, but he has got some fairly good strategy advantage now on his side. He went all the way out to lap 69. He'll get a very short stop to into this race now. If we go green for the majority of his next stint, he'll go to probably around about lap 130 to 135, which then offsets him to a pit stop at the end on lap 195 of this race. So if there's caution heavy in the final 100 laps, he could try and do this thing on a one more stop strategy. It's going to be tight though, very, very tight for John Edwards to pull that off.
I think we're seeing such a green flag run now actually that, oh dear, we came to an end there. We might well see a good majority of the field coming in here, even though we won't be quite halfway if it would come out right now. It might come in anyway because of the current situation that we're seeing on the racetrack and this nice run that we're getting here now. This is White Youngblood in front of Frank Marchese, and Frank, another driver who has made up a lot of places so far, 13 up into 5th, another did not qualify, but quite challenging the current points leader, which is no mean feat.
No, it's not. I mean, he is tucked right up behind Youngblood at the moment, doing a very, 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 very good job just to sit there and continue to apply this pressure. And as he now gets past Youngblood, 55 ahead of the 30, as they have to try and traverse the traffic as well as the lapped cars. We're 6 away or 7 away from the halfway point of this race, but this is a very, very tough circuit in Richmond. There's still a lot of love out there, for Jackson Pole. Continuing to get his supporters in the chat, so it's great to see everyone out there giving the support to Jackson in the 88. He's up 3 at the moment, back in P14. A bit of work to do for us, trying to get inside of the top 10. 6 to go now until the halfway point of the race.
No stages here, of course, but there is that symbolic nature of that 100 here tonight. Unfortunately, the second part of that 100 has been as good for White Youngblood as the first half was. He started to lose positions after leading laps early on in this race tonight. He's now a long way from doing that. Elliot Candra leading them all again. The pole sitter tonight, he's restarted all but twice, and indeed started all but twice at the front of the field. Now been caught a little bit by Matt Morrison, the gap less than the second, but it's not a big gap really. Or it is a comfortable gap, I should say. It is quite a big gap really when you consider the length of this circuit and so on, so he'll be looking comfortable at the moment. But again, Morrison showing good promise here.
Not just good promise, good pace as well. He outpaced Candra on that last lap by the barest of margins, right? It was 0.05 of a second, but on a short track that can be a monstrous gain. Now, if you're able to do that consistently, he's just gone 0.07 of a second faster as well. Remembering too, these lap times are very, very quick. They're just over 22 seconds. So you put that down to 200 laps, gaining a few hundreds every single lap is going to help you in the long run, obviously, chase down your competitor. So he's got that gap now down to under a second. If he gets it down under 0.8 of a second, he will get into the territory of the slipstream coming off the back of Candra's car. So that's only going to help him. As we do approach our halfway point of the race, we just want to give a quick shout out, of course, to the series sponsors. Of course, Fatboy Fabrication as well. You can call 423-213-6269 and get yourself sorted for some custom fabrication work for your car, as well to my mum's addictions as well for NASCAR, diecast, race memorabilia and more. It's found only on ebay.com, as well to Vitz Metals Incorporated, too. It's a massive shout out to them, and to Bar 2 Ready Mix LLC. Big thank you to those guys for helping support the race series and help us go racing here in the House Arca Series as we're under caution once again. Also want to give a quick shout out to our stream sponsors too, DRE Digital Race Engineer and to Track Cams by Gourmet. They help get us on circuit every single week with you as the race leaders are coming in, because now is crunch time and they can get home on one more stop after this run through pit lane.
Yeah, they certainly can. And that is what Elliot Candra has decided to do here. Ryan Chronister stays out here, so does John Edwards and Maurice Leger. And that's it of those who are on the lead lap here, as far as I can see. This is what happened, by the way, to cause the caution.
I'm just trying to find who it was that actually caused it. So, okay, that would be what it was.
0-0.
Yeah. So Carson Kenny, I think. Was he the one that came? Because
it wasn't 07.
Pretty sure it was.
I thought 0-0 was the one who got spun round. I didn't think 0-7 was in picture, but could be wrong.
Oh no, you were right. My mistake. Yeah, it was the 0-0. So he's just been overhooked with the Hooters entry in the 36 car. I don't know why that would bring out the caution though. He kept running. Although the 93 was off. The 93 went off the road. So yeah, I suppose that could bring out the caution.
Yes, just the angle that he spun round to. There's a certain tipping point there where we get to caution, and that's what's happened here. So pretty much exactly on halfway that caution comes out, and not quite everybody in. As I mentioned, Chronister, Edwards and Leger the only ones to stay out, but everybody else in, and I think making the right call coming in as well.
Yeah, I agree. Caution came at the perfect time for us to give it our little sponsor shout-outs just then, so that was good. Perfect timing from the caution flag. But hey, Ryan Chronister, John Edwards, Maurice Leger. Could this be a mistake? They've stayed out. Well, Chronister's about to come into pit lane. Why are you coming in now? What is that? Why are you coming in now? Everyone's already been in, Ryan. Well, that is as big of a mistake as I think I've probably ever seen, Ewan, because Ryan's now going to drop to the very back of the field. And that I don't understand. But what it has meant is now John Edwards now leading the race once again. The lights are off on the pace car, so he's going to lose so much time because these guys are going to go green flag again. And that is really, really weird. Really, really weird from Ryan, but maybe he's coming to try and fix something up with the car. He's got a black flag for actually entering a closed pit lane as well, so he'll have an EOL penalty for that. So that's cost him. So not only has he come out P13, he's going to have to go to the end of the train as well when he's to the very back of it.
Well, time to get this race back underway. The front row with old tyres on. John Edwards with another restart. The rest of them on new tyres looking to come through. And here goes Candra. 3 wide, nearly on the inside here with White Youngblood right in behind him. Oh dear, and we've got trouble here already. This could be trouble. And Youngblood very nearly gets it. And there it is. The 6 car goes around. I'm pretty sure that was the 6, or was it somebody else? It was indeed Matt Morrison, who is looking very good in that long green flag run. Has already had an accident in this first part of the second half of this race.
Let's see how this has happened to Matt Morrison. So running up high was the 54, struggling on his old tyres, and there's an 93 on the outside, and then he gets loose and then knocks the front of Marchese, and then the 5 has nowhere to go. So that there is a big, big moment in terms of the grand scheme of this race, because Morrison had fantastic pace there. And this is just a very unfortunate moment for him in the 5 car. Oh, my God. That's a big hit, Ewan. That is a big, big hit. And if you are John Edwards or you are Leger, you've got to come in now. You've got to get into pit road, take your stop, because you've gotten it for free. It's John Edwards. It's like he has a veto over him of, oh, you didn't come in on that last caution? Oh, you better come in now. You better come in now. It's like you forgot to come in. But he's not doing so just yet. There's been some black flags, obviously, for Chronister, Pole as well, and Beasley, all entering a close pit entry. So they'll all get EOL penalties now off the back of this.
Yeah. So some late stops going on here. Just 13 left on the lead lap, but Morrison is one of them after taking his fast repair. So that's what it's useful for. You're back in the game as soon as you have that sort of trouble. Same for Brent Easter as well, who's been able to stay, well, in the race, but not on the lead lap as of yet, with the chance to come back onto the lead lap, of course, because we do still have 20 cars running here. Still a busy racetrack, even though we don't have everybody in the race anymore. And it's still the same front two who continue to gravitate towards the front, Elliot Candra and Wyatt Youngblood, who are going to be restarting on the inside lane together this time around. You'd imagine they will be 1 and 2 very shortly after this restart, and run that way for some time as well, because they've been the clash of the field so far.
They have been just almost a class above the field. I think Matt Morrison definitely was matching them. Unfortunately, he's been dropped down the order now since that moment. Took his fast repair though. He's now back out on track, but he is down the order just slightly. But things can go his way. Cautions can go his way. We've seen he had pace across the green flag runs. He may still be able to chase them down if the moment is right for him. So this is going to be a tough run to the end though for these drivers. I don't think we're going to go green here very end. There's still 90 odd laps to go. But let's get some good green flag running in there. Let's maybe get one caution. Let's get one caution just to spice it up. You know, either. And you know what I think it should be, Ewan? Right after when they need to stop. So let's have it out at like lap 160, because we'll see if anyone takes the gamble of pitting under green, or we'll see if they take the gamble to stay long and hope for the caution to come out as the restart zone lights up again. And Richmond Raceway is lit up with the sounds of V8 engines from the Arcas in the modern era, as the 54 is already high into the wall, Ewan. So he is struggling again, is John Edwards, and Candra and Youngblood are now into the top two once more.
Yeah, this is where the trouble comes from in terms of these restarts, by the way, when Edwards running out wide. Oh, what a save! Youngblood is pushing those rears really hard, and I can't help but feel that's hurting him later in the stints. It's not going to matter for this green flag run, because we're back under caution anyway. It's not come from the leaders, though. That's an outrageous save from Youngblood there. He's clearly pushing hard to try and get the lead.
This is how it happened in the 07 of James Burns. Around, makes netcode contact with the 88 of Pole and just pillocks him into the wall. You got to feel.
Pole's already used his fast repair.
Yeah, he has. You got to feel for Pole. That there, he was a sitting duck. That was not anything his fault. That's a real shame for Jackson Pole, as drivers are just slowing up on the back straight. So John Edwards, we'll see if he comes in. He's going to come in, smart boy. Good job, John. Third time lucky.
Well, the smart thing would have been to pit 2 cautions ago, but that's too late now.
That's very, very true. But into pit lane comes John. We haven't seen Maurice Leger come in either, though. He has stayed out again in the 93 car. What are you doing, Maurice? Oh my God, I feel like King Julian right now. It's another movie reference. You definitely. I don't understand how you don't know what Madagascar is, Ewan.
Well, I know what it is. I just haven't seen it.
How? You would have been of age when it came out.
Target audience. Yeah, I probably did see it, but I don't really remember watching it.
My God. You just sit
All
there
those
watching
animated
grass
stuff
grow,
just
Ewan?
goes into one. Watching what?
Do you just sit there watching grass grow?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Enough. Just had to check. No, but I don't watch animated films, you know. Not you know.
It's not
as a
sophisticated
child
enough
or
for
an
you. Is that the case, Ewan? There are some very adults. There are not necessarily adult, but like there are some very mature animated films out there.
There's no way of saying that without making it sound like
I know. That's why I said mature. That's why I said mature. Studio Ghibli do a lot more mature animated films, as well as like even films like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse. They're not made for adults, they're obviously made for kids, but they're very mature and they're very, very good. I don't know. We need to figure out a way to get you up on these references that I keep on making.
I know, I'm just missing out. So that's the only thing that might get me into it, is the amount of references in life that I'm sometimes
You would
missing.
get so many more. Oh my god, if I could hear you referencing random films, Ewan, it would be fantastic if that could happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't even bring up last week that I haven't seen Talladega Nights, so I couldn't.
I know,
really,
you need to
was
watch
a
that, Ewan. That is a disgusting thing from yourself. You've never watched Talladega Nights. As a racing commentator, it is almost diabolical that you've not done that. So.
Meantime, Kelly Candra brings him back to the restart zone again. 86 to go from Richmond, and it is still Candra versus Youngblood at the front of this race, with Mokete closer to the front than he ever has been tonight.
Rhiannon in the chat, Ewan has completely flamed you there. She said Jim keeps him in a cupboard until he is needed for commentary. And I have to be honest with you, Ewan, I have to believe that theory at this stage, just based on the fact that you don't have the reference. Yes, we've got another caution again, and it's Matt Morrison this time. What is happening now that we're past lap 100?
Yeah, it's getting. Morrison there is unlucky.
God.
He gets to. It
What
wasn't
is
even the
that?
36 last time.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's just.
What is the 36 doing? He's just driven across like he's not there.
Yeah, well, perhaps believe that there was nobody there, I would imagine, given the line that was taken there. But yeah, that is a shame for Morrison, because he's likely to have fairly large damage now, and no longer a fast repair to get rid of it. So he's at least a couple of laps down now, and it's going to drop even further down the field as he repairs that, because that's the second incident he's had in just the last two green flag runs.
So, Ewan, now that we're back under caution again, we need to continue to crack this code on what do you do in your spare time, or what have you done growing up in your spare time to not understand pop culture references. I need to understand this, because it is a perplexing thing that things that were popular pop culture, mind you, for the mid-2000s into the 2010s, and you completely missed them, even though you were the demographic audience.
Yeah, I know. I just don't really like fiction. Don't enjoy fiction, really, which is a lot of popular culture, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I mean, there's a lot of pop culture stuff that is based on true events, or is a representation of true events as well.
Yeah, and I would go to not in a sports context. I think sports films are really bad, but even worse than normal ones. But the sort of representation of real life events just from life are tolerable.
So,
but,
I would point out that you said that sports films are worse. There are some very good sports films out there, though. I will argue that. Very
I
good
get
sports
very
films.
irritated. Maybe it's just a me thing, I think, because I get irrationally irritated when it's not entirely accurate. Like one of the that's not a rule, or you know what I mean. That kind of.
I can understand. I
inaccuracy.
can understand that immensely. As a wrestling fan myself, Ewan, I actually despise the film Fighting with My Family, and a lot of people love it, and I just do not, because there is a lot of inaccuracies in that film, and I despise it for that reason. If you wanted to go American sports based, one of my favorite films based on sports is probably Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. It is a fantastic film also as well. Now I'm going to have to do some Googling here to figure this out while we call this race. I'm going to have to figure it out, because there's another one with Samuel L. Jackson.
We'll get back to it in the next quarter.
We will.
We'll
get
circle back to
the
it.
next
But
Coach
anyway,
Carter. Coach Carter is the film I was thinking of. That's a great film as well, based around sports unit. So it's a good one. But restart zone's about to get lit up again, and we're green flag for lap 120 at 200. So 81 laps to go, Ewan. And we've been caution after caution the last 3 times. Oh my God.
Youngblood there was very nearly sort of sliding into the wall as he tried to go the high side of Candra. It's worked out in the end. He's got to the inside through 3 and 4 here. On the restart, they're both sliding off for 4. They are really pushing the limits through there every time, especially on, it seems to be the first lap after caution. They're pushing the limits so hard. Again, Youngblood looking to the inside here of Elliot Candra, who holds on to the lead through another restart.
Oh, it's getting intense up the front between both of them now. Candra and Youngblood have got great pace. Marchese is now up behind them as well. So it's a Chev, Ford, Toyota top 3. Every manufacturer represented up there. Leger's up in the top 5, although he's dropping positions on the old tyres. He's trying to battle over McGowan in the background as well, as McCook is separating these battles here. A couple of drivers running wide, just scraping the wall slightly on exit. But right now, Leger is under pressure from the 82 of McGowan and the 11 of Floyd in behind him.
It's all one long line past the leaders, who are really quite spaced out. Well, not that spaced out, but certainly more than these guys are. A bit further back here. Leger somehow hanging on really well, but it is already 54 laps since he's pitted. And there's been plenty of cautions in that time, and he might be able to push himself towards 70 laps of a green flag run here, but even that would only take him to lap 140, which is not very far away.
But that's fine though. Lap 140 he can get home from you. So if he can get to lap 140 on this tank of fuel, he can pit, he can take fuel, and he can get home. So he may
there's
not.
a long period there where he's laps down and susceptible to a caution. That's the problem.
That's right. That is very, very true. But if we get a caution on lap 140, we get a caution right now, lap 125. If we continue like this, he's actually almost going to be guaranteed to get to lap 140. And if we get to lap 140, we may see some of the front runners come in as well, knowing that they can make it home on that stop.
Well, caution's out again here, and so Youngblood's going to be picked up by the pace truck. He's going to just drive past it, but this is one of the few times Youngblood's actually been in front at the time of the caution here. So Elliot Candra will have to restart from the outside of the front row if indeed neither of them stop, which you'd imagine will be the case this time around, given the frequency at the cautions in the last few moments. But does Leger finally give this one up now, even though he's not quite in the fuel window to make it? We will see. Car 88 it is, going for the big spin this time.
My God!
And does a good job to avoid taking out whoever that was.
I don't actually think he did that on purpose, trying to avoid him. I just think the car reacted and kind of saved him there. So it's a big scary moment though for Jackson Pole. He may need to check his seat after that one. But no, that was a wild ride for the 88. So he's back in pit lane now. There's a black flag for Wesley Beasley as well. I believe, I don't know why, maybe, well, he's been in there for 14 minutes actually, so that's probably from the last time he was in pit lane. So his race is done at this stage. Leger has stayed out again. There's damage on the front of that lapped car ahead of them, which I think, is that the 15? It is the 15, so he'll have to come in and try and get that car fixed at some point in this race, but it's getting into crunch time now, Ewan. We are just over 10 laps away from critical lap of 140, where you know you'll get home from a pit stop after that point. But yeah, this is going to be a tough next portion of this race, but that was a good little green flag run we got ourselves there.
It was a nice run to start with, especially after the previous runs of nothingness that we've had, really, as far as well, it's just given us half a lap, unfortunately, and taking somebody out, which is not what we want to see particularly. It has given others the chance to get back on the lead lap, in fairness. Michael Cole is back now in 12th position, back on the lead lap. Another did not qualify, but is on the lead lap here. So Bryn Easter's only 1 lap down, Art Milne 3 down, with Carson Kenny, George Kurfidis, who's still running, and Jackson Pole as well, who's still going. James Burns still 5 laps down. Oh, so it's more than that. 9 down, I make it. Yep, it is. And the recent retirement for Matt Morrison after that previous crash. Perhaps no surprise there. Wesley Beasley's been in for 15 minutes. Already retirements for Mike Stewart and Jason Trocchi as well. So we're likely down to just 18 in the field, but That's pretty decent compared to the cautions we've seen so far and the short track nature of this venue.
Yeah, well, not too bad for this stage of this race as well. We've still got many laps to go. We've only just ticked over the hour marker, so we're probably looking at maybe an hour and 40 minutes for this race. We are getting closer and closer, obviously, to the 2-hour mark for this one as well. But no, I mean, this is what we kind of expected tonight. We love long-form oval racing. It's great tactics from these drivers that they have to try and pull out as well. And for them to survive this long, it's not an easy feat. This is a very, very difficult track to go this long on. They do obviously get the breathers from the cautions happening, but the restart zone's getting to work out tonight.
Certainly is. As we come back to green, here we go. Great restart, great launch from Youngblood. He went pretty much immediately. He got into the zone there and caught Elliot Candra off guard. And here comes Marchese down the inside. It's going to be on the outside here. Candra will surely get the run and consolidate second, but that's the biggest danger he's been in as far as being shuffled back to third is concerned. And Candra's now going to work on a move on Youngblood. A new phase of this race between these two.
Yep, new phase. Marchese's getting into it now. McCook had fairly good pace last week, if we recall. He did get into a few wrecks, but he's showing fairly good pace tonight. He's just not being able to match the leaders on significant paces. Jackson Pole's gone off again in the background. No caution thrown, though, so he must be off track somewhere. Probably on the tri-oval, or he's just had a minor moment. But Wyatt Youngblood is scraping the wall once again in the 30 entry, but he's trying to run away from Elliot Candra at this stage. Marchese follows him through. Pole actually put up at the end of pit lane. That's why he crashed. He just parked it and let the cars pass. Very generous there of Jackson, not to get in anyone's way. Just pulled it up and let the field past him as Youngblood is letting those rears slide and letting the car dance around Richmond Raceway this evening.
Yeah, definitely is. And this is only allowing Candra to get closer in this field at the moment. Second place, but has led a lot of laps tonight. And they are again starting to run away from the rest of the field. More contact with the wall off of 4 here from Youngblood. He's done that time and again in this race. He's pushing hard off of 4. Candra's showing to be the stronger driver around here tonight, but races are not always won by the strongest driver, not even always won by the fastest driver in the race. Candra has got to get through in terms of track position here on Youngblood, and has not been able to do that as of yet since restarting from second as he did here for this run.
Well, at 135 now of 200, and now we have to start looking at Maurice Leger and when he can come in. If he can make another 5 laps, he may be on a slight golden opportunity. To keep himself on the lead lap, he'll need a caution to come into pit lane. Yes, he'll give up positioning, but he'll be able to get the car home on one more stop. Probably argue he can come in on 139 if we do get a caution as well. But suddenly he's under pressure from these cars around him. There's John Edwards, who had stayed out with Leger earlier in the race. Now he's getting passed by him after he already took a pit stop. So that's a tough loss for Leger. He's now dropping positions by staying out this long.
Yeah, and Ryan Chronister actually in front of Edwards, who has been in more recently than all of them, to move up into 8th place, and is perhaps seeing the benefits of slightly younger tyres, although there's not too many green flag laps on these tyres at the moment, preceding these last 2 green flag runs especially, which have been a little bit better in terms of laps completed. Candra really close now to car 30 at the front of this race. Again, more lap traffic, which is either going to be used to his advantage or disadvantage. Youngblood there wanted to go around at the lap car high side, but forced to the inside. They both get through cleanly this time. No chance offered up to Candra.
No, he hasn't got the chance just yet, but now he's going to sit and wait, sit and be patient as possible for the 09 car. Lap 139 of 200, we've got 62 laps of this race to go. So we are within the bubble of pit stops coming about here if anyone wants to try and come in early, but you make a huge risk of it coming in under green flag. You'd almost be hoping for a caution within the next 60 or so laps, as Candra is right up on the back of Youngblood's car. Further back in the field as well, we've got a huge gaggle of cars battling away as the 12 and the 82 almost get together. That could have been caution right there, and Maurice Leger's prayers could have been offered and paid, but unfortunately for him it was no caution at this stage, but it's getting tight between them.
Candra again has gone for the lead, and he's got it ahead of Wyatt Youngblood. So just inside 60 laps to go. We're outside the window where you can pit and make it home. Nobody will until their fuel is running out, I would imagine, and then at that stage they will make the pit stop and do it under green if they're forced to. But Youngblood applying that pressure to Canberra, and Marchese just keeping at a sensible distance here, not that far behind them. He doesn't want to be absolutely with them in case they crash into each other and he gets involved.
Yep, he just wants to try and keep himself nice and tidy and behind. 142 of 200 now. Down the back straight we run. Fast-paced action for Canberra and Youngblood, but Youngblood's not able to hang with him just at this stage. As Loomis and Edwards battle in the rear of the mid-pack, just at the rear of the top 10 at this stage as well. So Edwards is now caught on that high line as Loomis tries to get past with the lap traffic behind him with the 5 entry too in Rowan Easter. Leger is still dropping positions, by the way, yet to come into pit road, but it's tightening up throughout the field, Ewan, and we're getting great green flag runs here in the backside of lap 100.
And I think it's disadvantaging White Youngblood, I've got to say, series points leader, because he is just not as strong in the long green flag runs as Elliot Kandra, who has got past him and now running away from him. And Marchese is right up to the back of Youngblood now as well. So Jason McCook here too. He's one of those who's relatively close in the championship as well. Only 106 points back in this point system is far less than a win. So it's pretty close at the moment between those two. And if McCook can get past him here and maybe take some points out of him tonight, Youngblood, then that will be a positive thing for Jason McCook. But first of all, the 55 has got to get through. And that is not easy, as Kandra showed earlier. Even if you're quite a lot faster than he's showing now, it's not easy to get through and then get away, as we're seeing here.
The problem for Youngblood is if he's caught out in an incident tonight, in these next 50 odd laps, he's very easily going to go a lap down, and then that's going to cost him. And if McCook keeps it clean, finishes up the front of the field, and that'll be big points lost for Youngblood, as Marchese has now passed him. So 55 has struck and gotten the Toyota into P2 on the road. How long will it take McCook to get past the Mustang as well? Because now the 14 is tucked right up behind the 30 of White Youngblood, and pressure is being applied to its absolute maximum on the championship leader. Can he hang on to this position, or is he going to maybe play the smart game? Just let him go, tuck back into P5, take home some solid points from Richmond, and move on to the next round next week out at Kansas.
Look to the inside here for McCook on Youngblood, and that was tight through turn 2, but they get away with it again there on the outside. 30 stays in front. Maurice Leger has had to come in, by the way, under green flag conditions here, and that is a disaster for him, unless everybody has to end up doing it here, which in the next 10-20 laps is entirely possible. Down the inside for McCook on Youngblood, and he is not quite clear yet, but he's clearly quicker and looking for a way into third.
So the difference between, though, the strategy that Leger is now pulling and what these cars are going to be able to pull, if they can go to the end of their tank life, which is going to be roughly lap 65, they're going to be able to put a significant less amount of fuel in their cars, because they don't need to make as many laps as what Leger does now that his tank is empty. So even though he's put it on the green, even if these guys need to do a green flag stop, he's not going to reap any benefits from himself now. He needed the caution at this stage to come in. He needed it probably to happen about 10 laps ago when he was still up the field. He's put the nail in the coffin for himself tonight, unfortunately, in terms of strategy. He tried to roll the dice, it hasn't paid off. It's come up snake eyes for him. That's racing, that's what happens. He'll move on now. We've got 50 laps to run.
You see the amount of laps you lose as well. It's not just you go one lap down, it's two here at Richmond. So he's going to need things to properly go his way now, and they haven't been in these last few moments. James Loomis, Jen McGowan and Michael Cole are three other quite close drivers in the field. Andrew Floyd up to 5th as well, ahead of Matthew Kleckler, so there's going on out there on the circuit at the moment. But the reason why Floyd being in 5th now is so important is because he is the second place driver in the championship. Not least he's conserving that second place from Jason McCook, who's currently in 3rd place, but also wants to close, and if indeed get past White Youngblood, then that will be very, very positive. Those guys who are not the series leader are all hoping, I think, for long green flag runs here, where a weakness for Youngblood seems to be being exposed tonight.
Yeah, I think it is, and short tracks are not his style of racing, it seems. He's very strong at the super speedway of obviously last week at Talladega. So how is he then going to go across the next 3 weeks out at the more regular speedway length circuits of 1.5 miles? So he's struggling tonight on the short track. It's really suited Canberra in this stage. It's serving and helping the Cook go well as well. Youngblood is really dropping time here, and in fact, I think he's actually dropping time to Kleckler. So unless he's trying to fuel save, which if he is trying to fuel save, he's actually giving up too much time. So this is starting to crumble here for Youngblood tonight.
It definitely is. And that is unusual to say. Ryan Chronister still benefiting from a late pit stop from him, or a recent one, I should say. He just decided to pit on a different caution to the others. He's now side-by-side still with Andrew Floyd there, who's starting to go backwards here. Floyd overtaken recently by Matthew Clackler. Oh, and caution! The worst news for Maurice Leger. We're not going to get our green flag pit stops tonight, which is a big shame. But on that 156, the caution is out, and everybody will be in for the what could be penultimate time tonight.
If anyone stays out now, this is a massive mistake, as the 36 has slowed up and he's just been drilled on the way through. So it's a tough go for the 36 car who's been in the wars tonight. But as I said, we expect everyone to come in now. Ewan, they can make it home from this point well and truly, even with a green-white checkered scenario. So we expect them to come through pit road, but it seems, yes, the race leader's coming in. So smart move there for Kendra. If he'd stayed out, that may have cost him a race win if he hadn't have kept going there. This will mean that James Loomis will get, who actually did cause the caution, won't get his lucky dog because he got a 1X off of the beginning of the caution, so he actually won't get his wave around now off that.
Does it go down then to the next one, or is there just no wave around there?
There's no wave around, but technically he's now back on the lead lap because he's actually stayed out. So because he'll be ahead of the leaders, he will get waved around anyway. So that's worked out for him. Unless it does end up line him, I'm not sure if it will. Michael Cole's been given a black flag, I would assume, for an unsafe pit entry. So he'll get an EOL.
Or speeding.
Or speeding.
Yeah.
I mean, speeding into pit lane is unsafe, of course. So Kendra out. Marchese follows. Youngblood and Cook. So there shouldn't be any changes. Everyone should be taking tyres at this stage. Easter's opted not to take tyres on his last stop previous, but he's now back in again. Let's take this pit stop here proper. So
lap cars after.
He was actually the leading lap car over Loomis. So he may actually get the lucky dog here when they catch up to the leaders. So those cars just ahead of the race leaders, they're either going to get waved around to clear the field and clear the contamination, or they're going to get given EOLs. So we'll see how this works out from iRacing and how it is determined. It can go either way normally. It just depends how I think the iRacing mentality is. But we'll see if they get dropped to the back of the line or if they just get let past. But probably trying to figure out who is the leading lapped cars at the moment. But both those cars are definitely lapped in.
So only change really, and it wasn't because of any difference in tyres taken or whatever, as White Youngblood had a quicker stop there than Jason McCook, or at least a quick run through the pit lane. So that's the only change really, up to third, and that's going to massively benefit the series leader, I think, because restarts from third position when Youngblood's been in that position compared to restarts from second on the outside of the front row have been very, very different, and very positively different for that third place runner. Eric Kandra will be unnerved by his long-time rival being right there behind him when we restart this race again.
So, Cole... Oh, what's just happened? My iRacing is frozen. Oh, that's very weird. I think we're still going. Which is fine, that's okay. Just figure out what's happening here. And my iRacing is just completely frozen. Okay, that's fine. Technical difficulties do happen at times, so we're just going to sort
yeah, I'll just run through the order, what it's going to be on the restart. Probably be different by the time we return, but as well, Emish is getting us back to where we need to be. Elliot Kandra will restart from the front ahead of Frank Marchese. White Youngblood will be on the inside of row 2 in front of Jason McCook. Then Ryan McChronister, third in points, coming into tonight, will start inside third row ahead of Matthew Kleckler. Then Andrew Floyd, who is second in points, 7th ahead of John Edwards. Jed McGowan then ahead of James Loomis, who was indeed given the licence to whip around and get back out onto the lead lap again. And then one lap down for Michael Cole, Brian Easter, Maurice Leger, who, as I say, had that caution at the wrong time. Some of these guys got wave around, not through the lucky dog, but through staying out there. Carson Kenny 3 laps down with George Kurafidis, but still going. Art Milne 4 down. Jackson Pole 5 down. James Burns 10 down now, but still going. And I think that's it as far as the race is concerned. Still 18 in the race, but no retirements from the previous caution that we've just seen, or any of the incidents of the recent past. So still a good field here tonight. Ready for round 7, and so we'll get back to the restart as quickly as we can. But at the time of the restart, there is going to be 40 laps to go. So those are going to go by very, very quickly indeed. And yeah, it's going to be a very, very quick dash to the end. But I suspect that won't be the last restart of the day, to be honest.
Well, I can tell you right now, my iRacing anti-cheat apparently decided that I wasn't allowed to rejoin the session, so I've just quickly rebooted my iRacing, so we'll see if that now lets me in. Hopefully it does, otherwise I'm going to have to reboot my computer, which would mean we would lose the stream and I'd have to restart it again, so hopefully that is not going to be the case. Hopefully it should let me in, so I'm just trying to get restarted now, and we should be back and up running again. So I do apologise that's happened. It's very weird. I hate when a technical difficulty happens because it's completely out of our control.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not a lot we can do, unfortunately. Clearly thinks we're cheating somehow.
Maybe we're cheating everyone out of being able to match the broadcast. I don't know. Maybe that's the problem, Ewan.
It's been deemed unfair by our racing, so there you go. We're out of the session for the moment. So there we go. But we'll be back in a second once we get restarted. As I say, I don't think that'll be the last restart, to be honest, for us to enjoy. I don't know if we've had a 40-lap green flag run yet. That previous one's not too far away.
No, that was nice and long. Nice and long that we had. All right, the sim's loading now, so we should be getting back in a moment. It's slowly trickling its way up the percentage, so we should be back in the session momentarily with the racing back on your screens again. So don't go anywhere. We will be returning to the racing action. Do apologise. That's live TV. Things happen. We can't do much about it aside from try and fix it on the fly and get ourselves running again. So couldn't handle how good the racing was, and that was what it was. So I'm going to blame. The racing was so good, it couldn't handle it. Had a little meltdown for itself. But yeah, we'll be in a moment's notice, and we'll have the racing back on your screens, and we'll get everything reloaded back up again. But yeah, it's kind of an unknown right now what's happening in that race. I wonder what's happening. Maybe we can make a bold claim and see if it's true. Maybe Matthew Kleckler's leading the race. Who knows? That's not...
Well, that is quite bold. He is 6th. I was about to say it's not that bold, but actually it quite is, really. From there. You could... Well, I was going to get maybe an insight into the way my brain was working. I was going to wager who had crashed from the front, but no, nobody. In fact, I'm glad I didn't make that guess because the answer is nobody. In fact, the restart order is very similar to the order we still have here, although Youngblood still putting pressure on Elliot Kandra. Again, though, the longer this run goes on, the further Youngblood seems to get away from the race lead here.
Well, so what we're seeing is Youngblood's now back up into P2, so the big change actually is Marchese's dropped down the order for some unknown reason. We don't know because we weren't able to see it, unfortunately. Well, at 169 to 200, we've got 32 laps to go at this race. It'll be 31 when we hit lap 170. Elliot Kandra, though, is still well in control of this race. It's like we weren't even away, Ewan. We're just back to the old running of Kandra and Youngblood running away from the field. We could have just inserted like lap 40 or something and you wouldn't have even known.
Yeah, it really hasn't changed very much in that period of time, which is remarkable, really, considering it's sort of a late race restart. And a caution. Caution comes out. Just as Chronister and Floyd had changed places, actually. It was on the back stretch, and again, the Walmart car involved.
Yeah, that front end of that car is not looking all too pretty. He still hasn't gotten it fixed. So as this happened, he's coming up on Leger, and he's just drilled the side of him. What is... That was certainly some spatial awareness there from Kirafides. And I think that's about the nice thing we can say.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't give too much room there at all.
No.
Which
has
caused this caution.
Didn't really give too much. He gave none. There was a wall.
Yeah.
He drove the car into the wall.
Yeah.
So, really not much more we can say about it. Leger's now in pit lane with a meatball flag. So that may be Leger's race done and dusted. Marchese's coming into pit lane again now, so I would assume he's got some damage on the car from an incident that happened while we were trying to reload everything.
So that was a change.
Yeah.
That was the change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was back in
Thought there was
P11.
no difference, but yeah.
No. So he was back in P11. So obviously something happened while we were away momentarily. So we do apologise we missed that moment. Please don't blame me or Ewan, though. There's not much we could do about it. It just decided to break, which is not a fun time when that happens. But what we're going to get is hopefully a good green flag run to the end now, Ewan. Fingers crossed. We've got 29 laps to go when we come around to get across the strike again. When we get restarted, it's probably going to be roughly 27 laps to go. We've gone longer than that before in a green flag run. I think we could do it to the end.
Yeah, I think so. But the chances of that go down. I think with each caution that we get, the chance that that one is going to be to the end, remarkably, or at the very least stays the same, because yes, it's closer to the end. There's less laps for us to go to the end from, but the intensity ramps up every time that we get a caution, because you get that little bit closer to the end of the race. Everybody sees that checkered flag. It's in sight now for these guys. It just pushes everybody on to drive a little bit harder, a little bit more intense, and that maybe is what we're going to see here again in a moment. But drivers will make their way around in a sec and bring us to 1 to go. And at the time of the restart, there will be just 26 laps remaining. And Youngblood, I think now, is getting more and more desperate, and has to get more and more desperate to find his way past Elliot Kandra and get into the lead here. Because if he lets this become a long green flag run with Kandra leading, there's only going to be one winner there.
No, that's right. There's only one winner out of that. And, Kandra has been the better of the two across this race. Youngblood had a good little run there for a while, but I don't know, he just seems to be struggling over those long green flag runs. So for Kandra, he'll be wanting a long green flag run. Youngblood may be wanting for a bit of stop-start action, maybe 5 or 6 laps of green flag caution, 5 or 6 laps of green flag caution, just to keep that car ahead of Kandra's car if he can get past him. But this is going to be a tough restart, so a tough race to end as well, and it's going to be 27 laps to go.
It will be. So what's going to happen on this restart? 26 to go, and Kandra gets us back underway again, and look at third position here. That's McCook looking down the inside here on White Youngblood, who's had his line taken away from by Kandra, who still leads, but Youngblood will get the exit and will get clear into second place.
Well, he clipped the wall in the exit of turn 2. We can see as well, look who is chasing down White Youngblood here. Chaser McCook and Andrew Floyd, 2 positions back as well. So the other contenders in this championship are chasing him down, but Floyd is getting caught up in a 3-wide battle pack here with the 82, and the 7 car is on. He's going to get muscled off the other side of turn 2 and onto the high side of the track. McCasey now passes also. Floyd, in a matter of moments, in a blink of an eye, has dropped multiple stops and continues to fall down the tower as Youngblood is losing time to Kandra, and McCook is continuing to sizzle up some pressure.
Absolutely. This is big for the championship. McCook 106 points behind at the start of the day. There's only a few points to be gained by this, but it could start a bit of a shuffling effect. If Youngblood loses one place, then how many more is he going to lose? To Chronister, for example, Matthew Kleckler maybe, Marchese, who's racing through the field here, already up to 6th place after the restart from him. Remarkable restart.
A great restart from Frank Marchese. Came into pit lane, put fresh tyres on that car, so he took the decision to deliberately pit, being he was the last car on the lead lap in the field, came in, stayed on the lead lap, put fresh rubber on it, and now he's able to push on with much better grip advantage than the other cars around him, as there's been an incident further back in the field involving James Burns, the 07, who's been in the wars tonight, as well as Carson Kenny, who's got big damage, and there is the caution finally thrown after these 2 cars have been sat there. So let's see how this has happened. But the double zero car, he's been in, that is not his fault at all. He's been clipped in the rear. The 5's then involved too, and then drops down the bottom and just hoists the 7 and nearly launches it into space.
07 car just turned around and into the wall as well. So
we've just lost Ewan. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Ewan's just dropped for whatever reasons. Hopefully he gets back in here. We continue on. Here he is. Hello, Ewan. What happened there? Oh, I can't hear you, Ewan.
Youngblood's in. Sorry,
there
can
you
you
are.
hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Sorry.
You dropped for a moment there. Now you're back. Very good.
I did, yeah. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. That got rid of Discord, so that
my
that was good. Youngblood in though. That's a surprise. I mean,
Fresh
you've
tyres.
got to do it, I think, if you're him, haven't you? Because new tyres would help him massively, and a short run like this of less than 20 laps would help him as well. Because these long green flag runs on older tyres are just not to his liking at the moment.
No, they're not. But I think that the problem is now. So if we go caution after caution, and he is trapped in the field, he is putting himself under big pressure here to actually get caught up in a moment now that he's within the mid-pack.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the downside of that is the risk of what he's doing at the moment. Only 9 seconds in the box as well. But ninth place for Youngblood. Andrew Floyd has also been in for a stop here. So has Brian Easter and John Edwards. They're the only 12 drivers on the lead lap.
I wonder, he may have only taken right sides, but has he maybe only taken fuel in case there's a green white checkered?
Surely he'll be able to save the fuel. I mean, they only pitted with 43 laps to go anyway.
Oh, that's true. He should be fine unless he underfueled the car.
Yeah. It's a very quick 4-tire stop. You're right. It doesn't seem likely.
I think that's only 2 tyres. That's only 2.
But
if it's 9.
Why?
Probably trying to save time, not drop too much time by taking just right sides. Actually, no. Would the tyres be separate to the fuel?
No, they'll do it at the same time.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I'd say it's just right sides and it's under 10 seconds.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
It's very unusual. So we'll see what happens on this restart. In that case, maybe he feels the balance would be better if he just changes one. Maybe it's if he's been struggling with a bit of a tight condition, then we'll be able to see here actually, won't we, whether the gets jacked up on both sides or not. He's sort of wonky in the box, which probably doesn't help. But there he goes on the right sides. He's already revving.
Yeah, just right.
And he's off.
Yep, no lefts, just right sides. So I don't mind I don't mind the strategy. He's not giving up as much time, and of course the right sides will lose more than what the lefts will. But very unusual as we head up towards the restart zone again.
Now here we go. And Nick Kandra bringing them into the restart zone again with McCook alongside, tucking in immediately. Look at that, Kandra getting clear straight away over the start-finish line with 17 to go here at Richmond. He's been in control of so much of this race. Can he go on and win it now? With Youngblood in the middle of 4 wide, is it through here? More contact there in the midfield. This is the danger zone.
Yeah, it's massive danger zone for Youngblood. Now, the other point to point out as well is Andrew Floyd came in with him, P2 in the championship, took 4 tyres on his stop, Ewan. So Youngblood didn't want to give up too much time to the race leaders, but Floyd didn't give up any more time than what Youngblood did, and he took 4 tyres on that car. So Floyd may have better grip than what Youngblood will towards the end of this race, being that his left side tyres are going to be just as fresh as his right sides, as we've got 15 to go at Richmond.
And Kandra is absolutely gone at the front. McCook does not have anything to answer with as things stand. Cronister under pressure for third meantime. Frank Marchese is making a great restart here. Took tyres all 4 on the previous caution to that one, so I think he's on his last set, but he's making use of it at the moment. Down the inside of the 12 car of Cronister. And Youngblood following. Spin to the inside for the 7, and no caution. We stay green.
He didn't stop on the racetrack, so because he's on the tri-oval infield, we stay green flag. That was Matt Kleckler, who's just gone off the road, so that's giving Youngblood a free position, but now he's going to get involved in a battle here with Cronister. Gives him a little knock on the rear to try and set himself up for a move. Gets the 12 car loose and tries to swipe this car by on the fresh tyres, and through comes the 30 and up into P4. Next car on the list, Frank Marchese in P3 on the road at this stage. Could he get past the 55, who's been on an all-time run to the podium here this evening? It's going to be tough for Youngblood, but he's got the grip advantage. But the Toyota is going to try and defend for his life here with 12 to go. Oh,
Contact was there. Did he get into the rear there, Youngblood, in towards turn number 1? He may well have done. He's certainly got the extra speed. He's just going to go and try and use that now. But to be fair, he doesn't have that much fresher tyres than Marchese does. Because, as I say, he pitted only under the previous caution. It's both of these two who've got the advantage over the rest. And they are catching McCook in second. Here comes Youngblood down the inside. Wyatt Youngblood up to third. An unbelievable run this is. I can't lie. I was not expecting much out of just right sides, but they're producing.
They're producing immensely here for Wyatt Youngblood, but the problem is now he's 2.3 seconds away from the race leader with 10 laps to go. He has to consistently outlap Kandra, but right now he's matching him for pace. So he's not able to chase him down at the moment as he runs it wide and into the wall again. So he's pushing the rears to their absolute limit here on board the Mustang. What he needs now is a caution to tuck the field back up together again and to close that gap down. Because on this lap, Kandra has gone faster than what Youngblood did on fresher right side tyres.
I feel like we've already reached the point, though, where Youngblood starts to struggle in the run. And you can see that with Marchese going straight back through again. Now, whether some of the others, like Chronister, are going to get
he's
back
just
in front
served him.
remains to be seen, but Marchese goes off through the grass now, and Youngblood back to third.
Youngblood's just served him off the road. Let's watch this again. So, Marchese comes through at turn 3, leads round 4, and then watch Youngblood. Gives him a serve through 4 and just pushes him off the road and drives straight through him. I'm sorry, but Wyatt Youngblood, that was a fantastic battle for P3, and he's just driven straight through him there, Ewan.
Well, it's third place for Youngblood, and it's not race ending for Marchese. He will get back to fourth. Chronister, by the way, is struggling massively now. He's now behind. Look at this, getting absolutely wrecked by everybody. Andrew Floyd now is going to get past.
Remembering Floyd's
and
on fresh tyres.
Behind.
Well, Floyd's on much fresher tyres than him. Lap 180 he pitted. We've got 6 to go. Youngblood is still a world away from the race win. In fact, he's starting to come up on some lap traffic now as well. So this could have a part to play in deciding this race. But Cook's trying to traverse the lap traffic too. And this is one of the big difficulties of Richmond Raceway, is when you're trying to traverse the lap traffic and trying to keep yourself clean on the way through. There's Youngblood, 1 second back off of P2, but he's 2.9 seconds back off of the race leader. So Kandra's got this race well in hand with 4 to go, Ewan, and the 09 looks unstoppable right now, barring a caution.
It absolutely does. He will be praying there's no more yellow flag here, because if there isn't, he'll be on his way. 3 to go when they get to the line here. He's extending his gap over those behind. McCook lost a 10th to him last lap. He goes over the line again here, Kandra, without really a hint of much tyre drop-off. Another 21.9 from him last time round. A 10th quicker than McCook. The only driver faster than him out there at the moment is Wyatt Youngblood, who is on those slightly newer tyres. That can be expected as he brings it to 2 to go.
2 laps left at Richmond. Not long to go now for the Napa Auto Parts entry of the 09 of Elliot Kandra. And if we don't get a caution this lap, we're going to go white flag, and it will end in the allotted 200 laps of Richmond Raceway. Chasing McCook, P2. Youngblood trying to chase him down on fresh rights, but he struggles on the long runs. We're going to make it round past the restart zone to the start-finish line. It's white flag. It's the final lap of Richmond in the 200-lap race.
And Elliot Kandra has led a lot of these 200 laps. Deserving winner tonight. Got on the pole earlier with the best lap time in qualifying, and he's going to romp home to a victory here too. Elliot Kandra comes up for 4 to win round 7 of the House Racing Arca Series from Richmond in dominant fashion. Nearly 2 seconds the gap at the line to McCook, and Wyatt Youngblood comes home third. In the end, pleased that the main damage is done to 4th and 5th in the championship, while he extends his advantage over those who started second and third in the points series at the start of tonight.
Well, it was an intense end to that race, Ewan. An intense finish for us once again. Of course, had a late caution in this one, but it is race victory for Elliot Kandra, who takes home the chocolates out at Richmond Raceway. What a fantastic win it was for him. As you mentioned, 2 seconds was the gap. And now the results up on your screen. As Cantor takes the win ahead of McCook and Youngblood on the podium. Marchese and McGowan, the top 5. Floyd, Chronister, Cole, Edwards, Kleckler, the top 10.
Yeah, those who also finished on the lead lap only include James Loomis. Art Milne was 3 down with Costin Kenny and George Karafidis. James Burns ended up 12 down. I think Brian Easter actually retired late on that, maybe 17 laps down. Then we had Jackson Polt, Maurice Leger also retiring, Matt Morrison, Wesley Beasley, Jason Trockey, Mike Stewart all retired as well. Though everybody made it through 1/3 of this race, by the way, tonight. John Russo, Chris Darkwood and Ricky Langton never started this race, sadly, for them. So that is it from Richmond here tonight. And as I say, Youngblood will be probably pleased with the point scenario, but Elliot Kandra tonight is not out, at the start of tonight, not out of the game at all. 136 points behind White Youngblood sounds like a lot, but in this point system it isn't. And if he shows some form on the 1.5 miles like he has here tonight, then my goodness, he's going to be difficult to beat.
He will indeed. He'll be very, very difficult to beat. And as we get our race winner in now, Elliot Kandra takes home the race win. Elliot, congratulations. Race victory for yourself here tonight. You seem to be in dominant form around the short track of Richmond. How was that one for you? Because you look to be a class of your own, especially across the long green flag runs.
Well, it doesn't quite make up for terrible race last week, but that was a great race. Wyatt Youngblood, he and I had some great battle in there. It was really fun.
My God, Elliot, you sound like you match your car number right now in terms of age. How old are you, young man?
Yeah, I'm a bit younger, but
Well, you drove like an old statesman on the road, didn't you? And I mean, you drove very cool head on your shoulders, drove very smart, and you actually managed to manage the car so much better than pretty much the whole field, wasn't it, you? And I mean, it was very impressive.
I appreciate it. It was just a bit of a race of patience there. The way a lot of the guys were driving, kind of just had to wait for the longer runs, hope they came, and then save the tire for then to go get them at the end of the runs and gap them then.
Just quickly before we let you go, Elliot, just to get your thoughts on the championship situation. As you mentioned last week, didn't go as well as you wanted. 136 points back at the start of tonight, but you'll be a bit closer now. I know Youngblood was only 3rd, but a bit closer. What are your aspirations? How far can you climb in these last 3 rounds after this one now in this series?
Well, obviously the hope is a championship, but we're a little far back, so just hoping to go out and win the rest of them and see where that puts us. We'll just let everything play out and hope we can come away with a solid championship spot, maybe even the trophy. But we'll just have to see.
All right, well, congrats again on the win tonight, Elliot, and thanks for coming to chat to us after the end of the race as well.
Yep, appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Elliot Kandra, our race winner here this evening. Ewan, what a race it was. Fantastic as always to come to Richmond. It's a phenomenal racing circuit, 200 laps around here. We were racing for a fair while, but it almost seemed like it flew by towards the end there. The midpoint, we were caution after caution, but the last run, that was spectacular.
Yeah, it was. And always like those runs. You know, you need caution throughout the race, certainly, to keep things close together and, you know, keep it tactically interesting. But you also need a few laps towards the end to let it play out. But what played out in the end was just a replay, really, as far as what Elliot Kandra was able to do here tonight. Just another great run indeed from him. We're back next week, of course, from Texas for the next round of the championship, next 3 races. Before we go, Jason McCook has just put himself in the waiting room, so we'll just have a quick word before we go. Jason, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Second place tonight, just one advanced on where you qualified. How do you feel about that result? Best you could have got out of tonight? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty solid about it. I think it's about the best I could run. I really didn't expect to qualify where I did tonight. I was expecting to be kind of a mid-pack warrior, but I saw my lap time I threw down, and early on, pretty much the first 20 laps, I knew I was going to be a top 5 car, and I just tried to play the tire game and save tires. I was watching Elliott and Youngblood battle up front on that, and I was maybe thinking, they're going to get into it with each other, and I can maybe cruise my way on by, or one of them's you're just going to wear their tires out, racing each other so hard. But it didn't work out for me that way, but we made our way around the track pretty much almost incident-free. Got into a little teensy-wincy incident on a restart once there, but is what it is, still a part of racing. But overall, man, I was super happy with the run tonight here at Richmond.
And it gives you a top 3 position in the championship, I'm pretty sure. How are you sort of feeling about the championship scenario with the last three races? Do you feel sort of confident going to the last 3.5 miles that you could advance that position maybe even further?
I felt like the last couple of laps, I felt like I was maybe running Elliott down, and I wasn't sure if maybe he was, maybe letting up and seeing if I'd get up there and race him a little bit. But last 5 laps, he just burned out and left me, and I just kind of locked in there and just wanted to secure my second place finish because I had Ryan Cronister and Andrew Floyd kind of on my tail too, and I'm in a tight battle with those guys kind of in the top 3 for the points there for the championship. So it was just important for me just to kind of stay right where I was. If I was able to chase him down, so be it. But overall, I mean, like I said, I'm super happy with where I was tonight.
Well, congrats on the second place finish, Jason, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end of the race as well.
Yep, thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thanks so much. It's Jason McCook who finishes second here tonight from Richmond. And so that is just about going to do it for us here for this broadcast live from Richmond Raceway. We'll be back, of course, in 7 days' time again from Texas for the last of that triple run of 1.5 mile racetracks to end this season. Kansas and Charlotte the weeks after that coming up. So make sure you join us for that. I've been Ian O'Leary alongside Hamish Monroe here tonight on the Motormouth Broadcasting YouTube channel. Make sure you join us again in 7 days' time for the next route of the House Racing Arca Series. But from all of us from Richmond, until then, it's goodbye for now.
Mm-hmm.